So thanks to the powers of editing, this glass is clean in 2 seconds, but believe me, it took so much longer to clean it than that. It's funny how when there's nothing in glass, it just stays looking dirty, and the keen-eyed among you will see some smear marks on it still, but you know, let's get on with building stuff, right? I'm going for a traditional build here, one of my nano tanks. This was actually the tank that got me into YouTube. I posted a how-to video on this very early on when I started doing this a couple of years ago, and it just got like 1,000 views after 3 months, which I thought was amazing, and then it led to where we are now, so. So the tank is a great little size, and I'll leave a link in the description to something similar. I don't think they actually make this model anymore, but it's similar to the Fluval Chi. Well, it's as close that I've seen that it resembles it. Now, before we get into any lighting details, I just want to put a frosted background onto this, because I think that's really going to suit the style of tank that I'm going to go for. And if it's not frosted in the thumbnail, then you know that didn't work, but I think it will. Click subscribe. Right, so that's the backing on. I think it looks really good. Now, when you do this, don't worry if you start to see sort of imperfections on the surface to start with. This is normal when you first put it on because the actual film breathes, and as time goes by, those small, tiny microscopic air pockets, they just sort of work their way out on their own, and before you know it, it just looks like a perfect finish. I've also put it on before and thought that looks awful, and then walked away because I had stuff to do, came back to it a few days later, and it was perfect. So yeah, don't worry about that at all. So for the lighting, I'm actually going to be using a really cheap LED light. It's from All Pond Solutions. I'll leave all the specifications up on the screen, but it's really low powered and dirt cheap. I mean, for the type of plants I want to be growing, you don't need high powered lighting. I'm going to be growing Limnophila, Rotala rotundifolia. All these type of plants, they don't require complicated lighting systems. And plus, with this low energy, we're not going to get any algae issues at all either, which is an absolute bonus. And I just did all of that in one take, which is very rare. I'm getting good at this. Now I've actually wanted to do this build for a long time, but I've never been able to find the right bowl that's the right colour, the right size for this particular aquarium. Until the other day, I was walking around in one of our discount stores here in the UK, B&M for anyone in the UK watching. Oh, I'm looking for the, what have I done with the bowl? Hang on. Yeah, and I found this for £1, which is like $1.30 or something minimal like that. It's plastic, which means it will float, so I'm going to have to put some gravel in the bottom to hold it down, but if we look at it with that light, it's like, well, if it wasn't blurred, but it's almost like it was designed for what I want it for, so that is perfect. Right, so now it's time to add our decorative sand to the bottom of the tank. Only a tiny little dusting. I just want it to be there for, like, you know, effects. It's not going to be actually doing anything at all. Maybe something for shrimp to pick through, but that's about it really. So MD, why have you put the sand in the oven? Well, don't worry, all will be revealed in about 20 minutes time. So baking your sand is a process that you can actually leave out. I just wanted to do it so I could do this. Many of you who know me and know the channel know that I don't really do the whole extra neat look thing. I tend to go for more of a natural look, but in this kind of setup, I think we need to keep it as tidy as possible. It'll give a much better impact to the plants, I think, which are going to be the stars of the show in here. As well as the shrimp, of course. Yes, we're putting shrimp in. And maybe snails. But no fish. Right, so up next we've got a couple of products to use to speed the process along. None of these are essential. You could do this with just sand, if I'm honest, and a little bit of fertilizer. So I've got some Tropica substrate powder. No, that's not, that's the soil. And now it's on the floor, sorry. Let's try that again. Why am I so clumsy? Anyway, so here's the substrate powder. So it's basically soil, effectively. It's a really nutrient dense layer that you have to keep completely capped. You do not want this getting in the water column at all. So that's going to go in first. Then I'm going to cap it a little bit of more of the crushed coral sand. And then on top of that, I'm going to put my aquarium soil. So it's the fine-grained aqua soil, basically. This is what we actually put our plants into. And then our roots will grow down into that other layer that we've created below it. That makes sense, right? Yeah. Now I want to add the plants in at this stage before I put water in. I just think there's less chance of the soil getting kicked up and going all over that sand and making it look horrible. But where am I going to get the plants from? Let me show you. So this kind of couldn't have come at a better time, because look there, look, so we've got some really nice Rotala HR reaching the surface, and we've got some really nice Rotala rotundifolia on that side, and that side reaching the surface. So what I'm going to do is trim them so that they're down level with where they actually need to be for this tank, and I can use all the tops to plant in, the light's off, and you know what I mean, to plant in the background areas in this. And then over in the freshwater reef aquarium, I've got loads of Hydrocotyle Japan I want to use, and maybe a couple of pieces of this AR Mini. I've also got over in the guppy aquarium some really nice limnophilia that's growing beautifully. Snip those bits off, maybe a couple of the stems as well, just to promote some even more growth. And then I think we've got the right amount in there, because basically what I want to do here is use the bowl as like a mini little garden, if you want, for growing aquatic plants that I can just trim regularly and then more grow, and then I can just, you know, place them wherever I want. Eventually though, the whole base is going to be just clogged full of roots. I'll be able to pick it up as one big Wabi Kusa bowl, if you like, and then just put it into a new setup. That'll be cool, and then restart the process again. So that's all our plants trimmed and selected, but what we need to do now is put them in size order. This way we can put the tallest at the back, shortest at the front, and just get a really nice sort of staggered look going on, so everything's not hidden by the foreground. So that's all of our plants in. Now I haven't completely overcrowded it, although there are a lot of plants there, because I want to be able to trim the stems and then replant them in the gaps in future. Obviously I won't be able to do that if it's completely chock-a-block now. But it's now time to fill the aquarium up, and we need to do that really slowly and up to the lip of the bowl first, and then we can let the water just gently sink in, because if you go too fast it's just going to fill up that bowl and... I mean, you could fill the bowl up first, but I don't want to risk the soil coming up. Hopefully this works, but it's going to be my worst nightmare if it all just comes and spills over, but easily cleaned up to be fair, because all I've got to do is take the bowl out, clean it out and put the sand back in, if that does happen, but hopefully we get it right first time. So behind me is my Discus Aquarium. It's in my main living space, but this is so mature. It's the most mature tank I've got. It's now 7 months old, something like that, which is a new record for me. I change stuff quite often, you see. But anyway, when I'm doing a new tank or a setup, I like to use the water from this aquarium, and I tend to have really good success using the mature water. Now, a lot of people say that it doesn't really make a difference, but I've always found that it does. So that's what I like to do, and it works for me. Right guys, we have a problem. So it's been nearly a week and the plants are either dead or nearly dead. Now I've never had this problem before, so I was wondering what the hell's going on, and then I did a water test. Over here is the results. Can you see that? Yeah, this is the result from this planted tank you can see here, and this is the result from here. But basically the pH is up really high, and so is the KH, which is what you would expect from putting crushed coral in the tank. However, I didn't think this amount of crushed coral would make that much of a difference, but it really has. That's the only thing different in this tank to the angelfish one you can see over there, is the crushed coral. So I'm going to take that crushed coral out, replant this, and then see how we get on. It's a bit messy because I kind of gave up with it. So it's now been a week since we replanted the Ikebana cereal bowl, vase, aquarium, whatever you want to call it. So let's take a look and see how it's got on. And here it is. I think it's doing really, really well. So last time you saw, after a week, all of the plants pretty much gone yellow. There was no red left in any rotala. It was just looking at absolute mess. But now we've got some really nice growth going on. And look at those shoots in the middle there. You can see them, just these ones here actually are getting better under this light for some reason. If you look at the bottom end, it's quite small leaf, and it's really getting big near the top. The reds are staying red, which is really surprising to me, because I was expecting them in this tiny little low light just to sort of green up on the top as they grow, but they seem to be staying really nice and red. But I tell you what, it's been a week, it's working well. I could carry on, but I've just ordered something from Amazon, and I want to now show you guys what I want to put on it next. Right, just look at that lighting, guys. It's so good, isn't it? It's so crisp. The previous light was on there was like a 10,000 Kelvin. This is 6,500, and that, believe it or not, is on the lowest setting. So hang on, let me turn it up a bit. Okay, right, you ready? I'm gonna go to max just so we can see. I don't know who max is, but there we go. That's the maximum lighting. That is 100% going to give you algae, but it's good to know, like, you know, show you how bright it can be. Such a cool light. I think that if you guys are after one, I thoroughly recommend this. Again, I bought this with my own money. Never even spoke to the company, but they've made a blinking good product there, and people should know about it. So, look how stylish it looks as well. Looks a bit like a tap, but I mean, we can work with it. I think it looks really cool. That's so nice. Click subscribe. So that's looking fantastic, but what good is an aquarium without inhabitants? I'm talking about something small, obviously. I don't really think we want to be putting fish in here, but because it's been set out for 2 weeks now, and I have been putting water in from my Discus Aquarium, there'll be a nice bit of bacteria going on, and you can already see a bit of biofilm on the surface of the water, which means it's going to be on the plants and surfaces inside the aquarium as well. That means we can add a few shrimp. I don't want to go crazy, just a few, just to keep it a little bit interesting. That's looking great, and I always feel like you should have something in an aquarium, even if it's something small, just like shrimp, because it just gives the eye something to look at. Plus, these shrimp are going to do us a really good job of cleaning the aquarium for us as an added bonus. But anyway, if you got this far in the video, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button. You're obviously enjoying yourself. Now, I don't feel obliged to, but it'd be cool if you can, and I'll see you on the next ND Fish Tanks build.